story about my relationship with the 23rd Psalm. 20 years ago, this past December, I had an autologous bone marrow transplant. And I had asked, actually my parish, Trinity, asked me what I would like in terms of clergy care during the time I was there. And I said, well, I would like to receive communion during the 4 days I was getting the high-dose chemotherapy. So 1, 2, 3 days, and the priest came and gave me communion from the reserved sacrament. The 4th day, Father John Mason came. And those of you who have been around the church in St. Louis for a while probably remember John Mason. And he was a very upright man. I believe his posture came from the years he was an army officer before he became a priest. He came and gave me communion. And John had bright blue eyes, which generally twinkled. And he looked at me after I'd received communion and he said, do you know what I think we ought to do? And I said, what? And he said, I think we ought to stand up and recite the 23rd Psalm together. So I got up and we stood in a patch of sunlight in the room and held hands and tried to recite the 23rd Psalm. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to stop at the point which we stopped. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And about this point, neither of us could remember the rest of it. And we looked at each other and we started to laugh. And one of us said something about, typical Episcopalians, we can't do it without the book. But I was so grateful to John because he was the only priest who came, who named where I was, because I was in the valley of the shadow of death. And I had blocked all of that. I knew what the possibilities were. And it wasn't until I saw my doctor after I had come out of the unit. And he came up and gave me this enormous hug and held on to me and said, thank God you're all right. And I said, didn't you know that I was going to be all right? And he said, no. I lost 3 people in the transplant unit the week before you went in. So ever since then, the 23rd Psalm has been really important to me, and particularly during Lent, when it helps me realize where and who I am.